Buddy, it's your girl Robin, and I am live. Yes, I'm so super excited. I have missed you guys so much. Today, I've got a great topic. Look, everybody's been talking about it, so I thought I would take us back. Y'all remember when I used to do these all the time? I would go back and I would talk about things that are happening in pop culture. Well, today's that day. I am going to do that today. I'm talking about Keith Lee and the lessons that, of course, hopefully these Atlanta restaurants have learned, but also what we've learned as the church as it relates to what he has taught us. So, for those of you, of course, that are new to my channel, hey, so glad to have you guys hanging out with me. I am live, of course, on Facebook. I'm live on YouTube. Y'all tell me hi. Let me see who is on with me. I'm so excited. I'm going to talk to y'all. In fact, as we continue throughout this taping on today, I'm even on Instagram. Hey guys, glad to see you. I know I've missed doing these sessions as well, but today is going to be really good. I promise you that. Let me make sure. I'm going to show y'all my video, and then we are going to get started. I'm really excited to be back with you guys. And I even have a new intro for those of you hanging out with me. Let me see. Here we go. All right. Here we go. All right, I'm so excited. So for those of you I have not had the pleasure to meet, I am Robin Ware. I'm a church consultant based in Atlanta, Georgia. So you know this was killing me to not be able to come on and share with you guys. So I said, I'm going to do it. I have been so extremely busy. Of course, I am in school, working on my Master's of Divinity. Woohoo! So super excited about that. Y'all, I graduate in May, so I ought to be able to come back on a little bit more frequently. And then, let me keep it real. I have been going through the grief process. I miss my mom and dad tremendously. For those of you that don't know, my parents lived with me for the past 18 years. So it wasn't like, they lived in another state and I miss them. No, they actually lived here in my house. So it's really been, different for me. And so I thank God that in this season, a friend of mine told me this is a season called SAD. And so she gave me the acronym, and I'm going to tell you guys what it means. I'm on my phone on Instagram, so I can't look it up, but I'll make sure I post it. But it's real, and there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's really important that you go through all the stages of grief. It's important to get those emotions out. You don't want to keep them all bottled in. So even though, I'm always happy and excited and, full of life, when life happens, my emotions reflect that. So I am I'm feeling like I'm on the other side of it. Of course, with the holidays approaching, it's made me kind of think about some things. So what I've been doing to create new memories as it relates to honoring the legacy of my mom and dad, I have been cooking. Yes, everybody's like so freaking out that I'm doing all this cooking. And your girl's got some skills. I want you to know it. I made Wimpy's or Sloppy Joe's the other day. I made cabbage. I made green beans. I make all kind of fish dishes, pasta dishes. I've even started baking. Okay, so y'all pray for your girl, because you know what happens when I start eating what I'm baking. It goes straight to the hip. So, but I like it. I made some pumpkin bread. I'm going to make some more. again, everybody that I've given some to, they've really liked it. So I am excited about that. So again, thank you guys. I see everybody telling me hello. I'm going to talk with you guys after I do this teaching, but I thought it important that I get on here and talk about Keith Lee. Y'all type in the comments, Keith Lee. Listen, first off, let me just applaud that brother. I am, for anybody that has figured out a way to monetize their gifts. Yes, he has figured out how to monetize his gifts. His gifts. He likes to eat. See, some of y'all, you make entrepreneurship to be something so hard and, I don't know my purpose and all of that. Sometimes you just have to go with God. Y'all type that in the comments. Go with God. This young man started doing food reviews or restaurant reviews on TikTok. I'm not a huge TikToker, but I've started putting some stuff on TikTok. So y'all make sure you're following me there as well. But he has, in fact, let me make sure. I'm going to tell you, I didn't even put it in here because, again, I'm a little rusty as it relates to doing all my lives because I haven't been on. So y'all just go with me, okay? But he's been on TikTok doing food reviews, going to different cities. And he's so kind and sweet. I love him because he goes to cities. He asks people, where are the places that I should go? He said 90% of the places he goes to, he's been invited. So here's my first lesson as this relates to church lessons that we can take from Keith Lee. He said that 90% of the places where he goes, he's been invited. That's what we should be doing as evangelists. Yes, we should be doing the work of an evangelist. We should be inviting people to our church. So when you meet people, of course, I'm not suggesting that you hit them over the head with, come to my church. But as God opens doors and presents opportunities, you should invite them. So I love it. If you're going to a city, go on social media and say, hey, I'm going to be in XYZ city. What church should I visit? I love that. I have had this idea for the longest to go around and visit churches and do reviews, but I really haven't figured out, how to do that and it would make sense, but I haven't figured out how to do it so that I could really go around the country. Because, I don't want to get on a plane every single week, flying, going to different churches. So anyway, I got to figure that out. But I love that he has figured it out, right? And I also love that he leaves tips. Y'all type that in the comments. Tips. I see you. He leaves tips. And what I mean by that as it relates to churches, he leaves reviews as to his experience. We should be asking people to give us reviews. Oh, I know that scares some of you. I know it scares some of you. Some of us, our churches will never get better because we won't face the truth. We don't want to hear the truth. We don't want people to tell us what in the back of our mind is already there. Yeah, we got some explaining to do. Yeah, we got some explaining to do. And so, like Keith Lee, we should be asking our visitors to give us their feedback. In fact, I'm going to give you some questions that you should ask as it relates to your visitors. Thank you guys for joining. I see you. I see you. I see you. As a matter of fact, your girl's even over on YouTube for all my YouTube folks. Let me see, where are my YouTube folks? If you guys, I see you. Good. All righty. Thank you guys so much. I see you over on YouTube as well. But two things, again, invite people to church. Number two, don't be afraid to ask them for their review of what they experienced at your church. Keith Lee, I love that he's so unbiased that he won't go in the restaurant because, he's got a name and he knows that people know him from social media. One of the services that I offer through my agency is I go in as a secret shopper. I actually have these forms that I fill out. It's 14 areas that I review. And so when I'm working with a church, before I meet with their leaders, I come and visit and then I do a whole assessment. I'll tell you this funny story. The last church that I did that with, well, I guess it's not the last church, but one church that I did it with, I visited the church and did the assessment, and then I went a few weeks later and I did a leadership workshop on radical hospitality. Y'all know that's my specialty. I teach church people customer service, or as I like to say, how to be nice, right? So when I went and did my radical hospitality workshop, I asked them, I always do this, what would people say they experience from visiting your church? And they always say, oh, that we are loving, that we are friendly, that we are kind. And so I always say, well, what if I told you that I visited this church? When I stated that, they were like, oh my God, their eyes got big. They were like, oh my God. So I ended up explaining that I did visit and I gave them my assessment. And like Keith Lee, in love. And of course, y'all see my book behind me. I gave, where I sold copies of my book, but I gave out lots of strategies to help them in the areas that needed improvement. Again, just according to Robin, right? However, you would be amazed, maybe not, but you would be amazed at some of the people that said, well, what Sunday did you come? I'm sure we had something going on that Sunday that, made us a little off. It shouldn't matter, right? When you compromise your process, you compromise your results. So, regardless of what Sunday, everything should be consistent. Whatever strategies, whatever systems, whatever processes you have in place, it should be every single week. So let me get back to Keith Lee. So I want y'all to know he went to one of my favorite restaurants here in Atlanta. Hey, Patty, I see you on. I've been praying for you. Love you, love you, love you. But he went to one of my favorite restaurants in Atlanta, and he did experience what I've experienced. You can't do takeout. You can't call ahead. You can't make reservations. And I'll be honest with you, I've just kind of accepted that this is how it is, and I've gone with it, but it doesn't make it right. And I like that he came from the outside and, kind of said that. So unfortunately, that restaurant did what some of church people do. The owner went on local radio and said, well, let me back up. The owner initially said, who is Keith Lee? Like, why do we care? You guys, it shouldn't matter who the visitor is. God is no respecter person, and neither should we be. You shouldn't go all out when the mayor's coming to visit, and you don't go all out when I come to visit. Let me leave that right there. Yeah, you shouldn't go all out for the mayor, for the governor, for a city council person. No, you should go all out for any visitor. You want them to know that they are welcome. Most importantly, and I teach this in my book, you want them to know that you were expecting them. You were expecting them, right? So that owner said, who is he? As if he doesn't matter to me because I don't know who he is. That response is terrible. That is very poor management. So then this same manager went on local radio, and this was the killer, guys. He went on local radio and he said, we are in the food business, not the service business, or, something to that effect. Are you kidding me? Food is what I think, or maybe he said, food is what people come to us for and not service. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Why then do we tip? Why then do we tip? Why would you ask us to tip? I got all kind of receipts around here where they put on the receipt tip. That tip goes to that waiter for the service. It goes to, sometimes tips go to the pool of people that work there, the kitchen crew, the cleanup people, so that they all get a little blessing, right? For making sure that their guests have an incredible experience. Well, as it relates to church, it is the same thing. We should make sure that regardless of who people are, that they get a great experience. We don't ask for a tip, but we sure ask for an offering. Yeah, I said it. I said it. We sure ask for an offering. Yeah. And I think churches have a lot of nerve asking for offerings, and they don't put in the effort and energy to make sure that their services are excellent so that those that come get what they need. We are hope dealers. People come to us so that they can increase their faith, so that they can strengthen their relationship with God. Yeah. And in order for us to do ministry, again, we don't call it a tip, but we ask them for an offering. Y'all type that in the comments, offering. Yeah. We ask them for an offering, and that offering, it is to keep not only the lights on and the utilities going, but it's also to pay the staff. Yeah, it is to pay the staff. So we have to make sure that when we're asking for the offering, yeah, that we're being good stewards of the offering. And the people that we're paying, that they are workers worthy of their hire. Yeah. Yeah. I said it. Y'all miss me. I know it. But listen, I tell it like it is because I know that God cares about his people. We cannot treat his people any kind of way. We don't get to decide who matters. We don't get to decide this particular week we are going to show love to only this person. Absolutely not. We should show love to all people. Anyone that walks through that door, anyone that watches on our live stream. That's a whole nother teaching. But I want to help you make sure, let's see here. There we go. I want to help you make sure that what you're doing, it is effective. All right. And that the people that you're called to serve, that they get what they need, that they are that they're being blessed. All right. So let's keep talking. So again, I was mortified when that owner went on local radio and said that we're in the food business and not the service business, because that couldn't be further from the truth. I want you to know that as ministry leaders, that sometimes it takes a visitor. Studies have shown that it takes a visitor up to 4 visits before they decide if they want to partner with that ministry. Well, if you're like, any other ministry, church growth matters to you. So you want to make sure that what they're coming for, they get. So Keith Lee, he goes to a restaurant, he orders food, he orders takeout, he gets the food, he brings it out, and he eats it in his car, and then he gives a review. Well, the lesson from that is when people come to our churches and they go home, they digest what they've been fed. They process what they've experienced at our church, and they share it. Listen, they share it. Now, they may not have the following of a Keith Lee, but before you get somebody that comes to your church that does have the following of a Keith Lee, I want to encourage you to make sure that you're ready for them. All right? I want you to make sure that you are ready for them. All right? So here are my tips. Let me give you these. These are the tips that I use as it relates to survey questions. One of the tips that I give my churches is that they should send surveys to their visitors. They should ask just 3 questions. A lot of times, people say, oh, well, people won't fill out surveys and return them. Well, that's because you're asking too many questions, right? Just ask them these 3 little simple questions. It will help your team start the conversation as it relates to wowing your guests. Y'all see my book back here? Wowing your guests. That's, let me grab one. This is the book that I wrote, teaching how to change the culture of your church as it relates to hospitality. So here are the questions, and I talk about these even in my book. But number 1, I don't want to give that one. Okay, here we go. What were your favorite parts of the service? Simple. Ask that as number 1. What were your favorite parts of the service? What were your favorite parts of the service? Number two, what were your least favorite parts of the service? See, we can't assume that everything we do is so awesome and amazing, because a lot of us, we've been members of our churches for a long time, and so we experience tradition, right? My bishop says it like this: tradition is nothing but frozen success. So we get stuck in tradition. This is how we've traditionally done things, and it's worked in our opinion, so we keep it that way, right? No, I want you to ask, what were your favorite parts of the service and what were your least favorite parts of the service? And then number three, here's the money question: what parts of the service provided you with the best opportunity to connect with God? What parts of the service, parts plural, what parts of the service provided you with your best opportunity to connect with God? Listen, y'all, sometimes in our churches, we spend 35, 40 minutes on announcements. We spend 30, 35, 40 minutes on the offering. And we spend 15 minutes on the message. We spend 10 minutes on the invitation. We don't even offer prayer at the altar. We don't offer prayer at the end of service with people. You know, we have to make sure that we keep the main thing, and not just our thing. All right? Our thing that works for our culture. No, we are called to serve and to help people. We're to disciple people. And so we want to make sure that the people that are coming are getting that opportunity. All right. So I'm not going to keep you. I said I was going to make this about 10 or 15 minutes, and we're already at 21 minutes. But I'm proud of myself because, normally I could go like 40, 45 minutes. But nonetheless, I just wanted to share, because that really, what Keith Lee is doing, it really blessed me. I want to help churches before, again, a visitor comes that's got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of visitors. They come and then they talk publicly about their experience. Let people know you care. How do you do that? You follow up, you send them surveys, you send them emails, you engage with them. Even during the worship experience, you make sure that people know that they matter to you and that they matter to God. All right. I pray that you've been blessed. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I see you guys all on Instagram. I see you on Facebook, and I see you on YouTube. Absolutely. Thank you. I see Kathleen Kim Moore. She says, yes, Robin, you're absolutely right. Let's see. I've got Rhonda. Good to see you, daughter. She says, happy Friday, Mama Robin. She's going to catch up on this one. Let's see. I've got Kathleen. Oh, she must have been tagging someone. Thank you so much for that. I saw my sister Shannon is on. Good stuff. Thank you for jumping on. I appreciate it. And again, Patty, again, praying for you. So glad that you tuned in today. And then my YouTubers, I see you guys over there. Clarissa, glad to see you on, daughter. I've missed you as well. I appreciate you jumping on. I see, let me do one more over on YouTube. I don't want to slight y'all. I see J Trade Forex. He says, yes, this is going to be good. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I'm even on Twitter. Let me see. I don't see any comments from Twitter, but I streamed over there as well. Aren't y'all proud of me? Yes, I was determined. Good. Clarissa said this was a great teaching. All my folks on Instagram, I see you, Cedric. Good stuff. Glad. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.